Yes, I haven't got any notice of the recording, but if it starts, it's fine. Uh, Thank you for inviting me. It's my first time in Sofia, and I hope next time I will meet you in person. I am going to present some reflections, some analysis of the current AI situation in language and education. I'm coming from literature. I was educated in literature theory, and I discovered digital humanities. And I work a lot on the development of text analysis tools. And a few years ago, I was in the Stanford Literary Lab in the US, in the Silicon Valley, the birthplace of AI. And my colleague showed me the first AI deep learning analysis tools, and I was completely fascinated. So since then, I followed the developments in the technology, and I tried to work both AI as a tool and as a subject. As a tool, I try to help my colleagues because I'm deputy director of CNRS Science and Humanities Institute. I try to help my colleague to use and to adopt the different AI tools, for instance, for text analyzing, character recognition, text translation, and so on. And as I am also fascinated by the different development, current development of AI, I try to make it a subject of academic interest by a specific interest on the way AI could change art and literature. So what I will show will be grounded on these two questions. What is AI? What changed AI when you use it as a tool? And how could we address as academic the different issue, in particular in art and literature? I've start my first slide with a very short introduction. AI already has a dense history. It was born, the word was coined in 57 for summer school at the Dartmouth College. This history is well known. What is important is the fact that we need to be aware of the history of AI when we work on it, because AI is not so far from our discipline. It's not so incredibly new, and we have many of the tools, of the philosophical tools, of the mental ability to cope with it, and we have to take care of the illusion of something completely new. Uh, Please proceed to the next slide. AI has a very long scientific prehistory. Next slide, please. Because the artificial reasoning, the philosophy of reasoning is very, very old. It was an invention of Aristotle in his treatise on logic. And you know, the very, very new, the latest GPT-IO development and DeepSeek development in the last weeks were all about reasoning models. To understand what is a reasoning model, you have to go back to the long history of reasoning in philosophy. You have to come back to the history of logic, the history of mathematics. And the social sciences are not so remote, are not so far. Next slide, please, Emanuela. Because you know that AI is working on language, on human data, and human data is something that is the main one of the purpose of our discipline of social sciences to find some way of quantifying, of analyzing everything in our humanity as information and as data. And I gave the example of two philosopher and savant from structuralism, Claude Lévi-Strauss and Ferdinand Saussure. Both of them have in common to have tried to transform language and society into data that at some point it will be able to analyze with a computer. So let me come back also to something very old to better understand ChatGPT and the large language model. Emanuela, next slide, please. Please think at first as the language model or an help, a way to enhance the way you write. It's a writing tool and writing with the help of some technicalities, some training or some artificial method is something very old. If you come back to the rhetoric was the way to find ways to speak and to argue better. And in rhetoric, you have all the ingredient of what is the modern large language model, how to find new ideas, how to organize these ideas, how to present these ideas, how to make them more convincing. So I always think of the old rhetoric when I think of large language model techniques. Next slide, please. I think we must absolutely think also of AI as a way to find a methodological, epistemological, ethical solution to the biases, the human biases. We always how to find some way to forget, to find the better way to cope with personal biases. And we try to invent something called collective intelligence with collaboration in science. Because we are always aware that a single human is prone to many errors and biases. And in some way, find some better way of thinking, of advancing together is in the continuity of all the long-term effort of science to make the addition of each mind a way to go forward. Next slide, please. If we go back to artificial intelligence, current artificial intelligence tools, I will insist on the fact there are many kind of artificial intelligence. If you consider your car, the automatic gear you got is some kind of artificial intelligence at a basic level. So you have a continuity between very simple mechanical artifact invented in the 18th centuries, sometime before, and to the most advanced deep learning tools. What is striking us currently is the birth of world model and generative AI. World model, please go to next slides. Or you can call it also foundational model, are the way automatic classification, automatic learning of artificial neurons can organize the human data you gave to it. You gave to some artificial networks of neurons hundreds of billions of image, and you ask the AI to find similarities, to put the image of the duck together and the image of the whatever you need, the card together. And at some point, the AI is able to do by itself without pre-training. It's called deep learning. Way the secret code, its own code of the way the image are built, or the way any human language works. It's called a foundation model. You have foundation model on languages, on music, on images. You have got foundation model on video. You got foundation now in physics or in architecture. You give many example of floor plan or 3D models to an AI, and it creates an engine able of categorizing the building together and creating new one. The other part of this foundation model is their ability to generate new answer, new sounds, new sentences, new music, new image by being prompt. Prompting an AI is something really simple. You add some data to the model, and you ask the model what is the most probable words that we will want to read on the screen. It's based, please, the next slide, Emanuela. It's based on a very simple linguistic assumption discovered maybe 50 years ago. It's the fact that you can discover the meaning of a word without going to a dictionary. You just have to calculate the embedding, the environment of the word. When you got the word dog, you have more probabilities to find the word bone than to find the word rocket around the word dog. So with this very simple calculation, you are able to predict what will be the next word if you got a model of the way it's working. So we knew it since the 50s, but what happened? Next slide, please. what happened 5 years ago was the invention of some very powerful techniques called the transformers. The transformers is a way to be better at predicting the next word. Next slide, please. So it's as simple as that. A large language model like Gemini or ChatGPT does not know anything, has no rules, is just able to predict a word by one word. It seems to be very basic. It seems to be just stochastic imitation, and some detractors of AI have called AI stochastic parrots. But when you are able to predict a word, you could be able to write a sentence, you can be able to write a paragraph or a full pages. And when what you got with this prediction is not only a way of imitating human languages, but you find the deep of the organization of words, and the deep of the organization of word is the language, the way Bulgarian or French is working, but also the knowledge behind it. So you are capturing a way of thinking by predicting a word, because what we think is not separable, is completely intricated with what we write. So by predicting a word, you can answer difficult question, you can pass exam, and it gives a large language model exceptional capabilities. I tried during this afternoon the new Chinese AI DeepSeek, and I had incredibly efficient question answers in literary theory question. The answer I got were on the level on par with maybe 3 year literature student. So I was really impressed. So next slide, please, Emanuela. The first uses that appears are text capabilities, augmented rhetorics, translation abilities, summarization of document are also very efficient. Reference to some specific vocabulary, like the legal vocabulary, or transposition of style. If you want to play with your LLM and make it write like Michael Bulgakov, you can do it, because he has the organization of Michael Bulgakov novels in its artificial mind. So it's working very well with text capabilities, but also, and these text capabilities have great potential for education. Next slide, please, Emanuela. Because you will be able to adapt your teaching more easily than ever. You'll be able to personalize your education. You'll be able to help people with disabilities easier with AI. And we often see the challenging of having our students using AI to answer our exam, but we have also to think of the benefits. The benefits for teacher are huge, because you can also have way to accelerate very tenuous task of preparing a syllabus and so on. So it could be very helpful in education. But don't be naive. Next slide, please. Many startup in edu tech have seen these these abilities, and they are developing a lot of AI very profitable for education, like AI for documentation, of AI for translation, or AI for illustration of the course you give. So you have a plethora of AI tools available and a lot of startup. But we always have to think of the issue of something that is helping us. Next slide, please, Emanuela. Because you cannot rely on something without thinking of what it will change in your way of working, your way of thinking. So I think there are many issues relying too much or only on AI. uh, uh, you can get lazy. You can get lazy. You can de-skill yourself. You can forget your basic translation ability. You can forget your communication ability. You can also rely on it to analyze this text and forget that you have to build and to foster your own critical thinking, because critical thinking is absolutely central to democracy, and we cannot be citizen without critical thinking. So it's one of the most important issue. What will really learn a student relying on AI for each task of writing? When you write, you learn how to organize thinking, how to plan an action, how to behave, how to interact, how to answer to some thinking, and you cannot delegate everything into an AI without losing some very important skill. So it's a very difficult balance to use AI in education. On one side, I can understand alert signals. Next slide, please, Emanuela. Like the one coming from the librarians. Why look into books if you can ask ChatGPT what are inside books? That's one of the challenge I often see in education. And please go to, I don't have time for the next slide, but the slides following the next one. Yes, this one I don't have to show. The next one, please. Thank you. At some point, neoliberal managers are predicting the end, the disparition, the replacement of teacher. It could be something warning for everyone to search promise. I'm not sure we are at this point, but certainly our work have to evolve, have to adapt to, for instance, the end of homework. The question of what we call the inverse classroom. I don't know if you know the concept, but maybe we can use the classroom to exercise with our student and not to teach from an higher standpoint because they have the knowledge available on their computer. So it's a very interesting challenge for teacher. And we still have to cope with many problems, in particular in scientific research, in scientific teaching. Next slide, please. Uh, if I go into a more epistemological reflection of the AI result, you cannot avoid the fact that the AI creation are not explicable like a common reasoning. There are many efforts currently done to make the model reason like human. But as yet, you often get results that you can't explain. And it's a huge issue for many of my colleagues because they got interesting results, but they cannot prove it's not false and they cannot prove it's right. It's just the probabilities, and probabilities is not a common way of asserting the truth of something. If you want to be sure of something, you have to go to logic reasoning, not only probability. So it's a kind of probabilistic way of understanding the world, a quantic way, if you want, of understanding the world. And if you go into probabilities, as one thing could have the same probability as something true that could have the same probability as something false from a linguistic point of view, you got what is called hallucination. Hallucination is completely funny and inventing result of AI, and you don't have many hallucination if you ask some very common question to an AI because he has a lot of information. But if you ask it for some specific, he has not many example to build his answer, and he will go to some invention modes. And for instance, one of the first thing I tried to test an AI system, I asked him the book I wrote, and half of the book I wrote are real, but the other half are completely invented. They are not far from what I could have wrote, but they are not actually in libraries. So it's something that you can test with some difficult question that AI don't have references to reality. They don't have even reference to the net, so the actuality of the net, because they are trained on data that are always a little bit old because you cannot train constantly an AI model. What you can do at best, and what is Google doing, is to try to check the AI result to the net, but it's not perfect. Another issue, next slide, please, Emanuela, is the question of the training corpus. Because I say the training corpus is often outdated, sometimes is built without agreement of the IT holders. And next slide, please. Please, there are many discussions whether for instance, the publisher or the press should allow the AI company to train on their data. Um, Next slide, please. As I said, AI were created to address human biases. but they try to address human bases by using human datas. And human datas are prone to being wrong because when you want to build a foundational model, you have to use a lot of data, hundreds, more than 100 billion words for GPT, and you have to find this data. And what you get is what you get on the internet. Maybe I think it's 90% of the data used are text of forum of the common internet, what is called the common crawl of the internet, and this data is not checked. This data is often contaminated by racism, by misogyny, by many biases. So if you use the raw training of an AI, you will get completely unusable data. Next slide. For the reason and explain. I think I must go faster if we want to finish not too late. One of the simple biases, you can go to the next two slide, is the fact the data you use is made from one dominant language on the internet, English. So what about Bulgarian? It's really a question. Another issue, next slide. Next slide again. Okay. Another issue, as I said, you cannot use directly what you get from the training of the data set if the fact that you need to correct this result, it's processed, prominent, very important in AI tools creation called alignment. Alignment means that you will have to use rules to correct the data, to make the data conform, adequate to some values. You have to make the result align with your values, and it's very difficult to have an aligned AI, as I said. Even Elon Musk, who promised to give you truth, Gronk, has some alignment, because if you ask an AI and you get something that is directly, I don't know, anti-Semitic or violent, or something coming from an hate speech, I think nobody will agree to release its model, this model online. So you align it, but when you align it, you create new kind of biases, and you open new ethical issue, because nobody agrees to a common set of values. The Chinese AI is trained on the socialist, Chinese socialist values. The open AI ChatGPT is aligned on the belief of the creator, Salah Altman. Salah Altman is a Democrat. He has some opinion. He's vegetarian. He has some personal opinion. So, and you can criticize an AI for being too woke, or to be, on the contrary, completely far right, because nobody will agree on a core set of values. So you don't have a perfect perfect ethical answer of an AI, because what is right for you could be wrong for your neighbor. Next slide, please. In the end, we have many ethic issues. For some philosopher, is so dangerous that we must stop AI development, like for Yuval Harari. From some other, the AI is a great danger to social freedom. For other one, it's a danger for employment because it will replace many workers. For some other, it will be even more dangerous danger. The fact that the whole human race can be replaced by some AI controlling the world at some point that is called by futurologists singularity. But as my conference is on education, please next slide, Emanuela. I will just stress the different danger, specific danger to education. If you rely on AI, you can be prone to be intimidated by the result, the perfect, apparently perfect result you got. It's you can. It's something that what was called by a philosopher the Promethean shame. You are ashamed of being a human when you compare yourself to the AI. You can lose many of your skills, your what is called your soft skill. You can lose many of your linguistic skills. So I think it's a big question in education. Next slide, we're progressing towards the end. I will say that many efforts are made towards a more ethic AI. There is a full branch of philosophy called AI ethic currently developing, including many efforts to make the alignment a public discussion, for instance, or many efforts to make AI more explainable, to be able to discuss the result. And at the national and international level, an initiative like the AI Act of the European Union, classifying the AI in different levels of threat, of danger, of risk, is helpful to be to get a truthful AI. And next slide. It's very important to see that no, the slide before this one. Oh, no, 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 it's fine, it's fine. Forgive me, Emmanuel. Just think of the what will happen in the next months, not even years. We will have AI everywhere in our word processing tool, in our chat box, in our text message. We will have a personal agent. We will have AI able to make more consistent reasoning. So we will be able also to connect agent to some reality. We have intermedial multimedial agent connecting an image to music or new way to create at our disposition. So we are just in the beginning of the power of generative AI. My last slide. This one is a very is on the different tip I can give it to you for using better AI, but I'm not sure it's useful in the context of these general conferences. So let's go to my last slide to thank you and to give you back the floor, as I am very happy to exchange with you. And to answer your question as I can.
I I have a question, not a question per se, but maybe a brainstormer here. Uh, would you say I mean AI in general and all of the AI technologies are can be seen more or less as a threat or a solution to specific problems?
I think it's too general a question. It depends on the problems, and there is some field we are already using every day, every time, some powerful AI. When you are flying a plane, 95% of the flying is done by some automatic navigation, positioning, and so on systems. So we rely, we are confident on the efficiency of the plane we fly on, and we have less plane crash than before. Maybe it's related to the use of AI for controlling the plane. But there are some use emerging, some use of AI that we may not agree with. For example, AI is currently used in the military for targeting bombing. It was used by the Israeli army in Gaza to improve the efficiency of bombing and of targeting Hamas suspects. And I think that we enter there something that could be very dangerous. There was an article, a paper today in the New York Times on the way all the army in the world are rushing to use AI for many tasks. Do we agree to have automatic weapon, automatic gun? It's a very important and very challenging, very disturbing question. And for tank, I think that AI could be something awful, but for plane, it's something helpful.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, this is something that I always remind my students, and at least I like this comparison whenever I say that AI is glorified, yeah, but it's just another tool. Like, for example, fire. With fire, you can cook your dinner, you can heat your house, but you can also destroy your house. It depends on how you use it and in what context. So yeah, I guess that
Absolutely,
the
you have
answer
absolutely right.
is
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You are absolutely right. And what is providing a tool to help you to do, you forget to do it by yourself.
Mhm.
Uh, we are not anymore able to go into a forest and to make ourselves the fire you spoke of, and because we are using tools, so we are completely dependent on many tools. We are completely dependent on the internet. Many years ago, everyone was thinking we must be able to work, to exchange without internet. But now you cannot imagine a second world without internet. It will nothing will work. Not even your car, not even the water distribution in your kitchen. So we are dependent on a networked and computer society. And I think the AI will enter many of our tasks, and we will be dependent of AI like we are on electricity.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you, Professor Gefen.
I no. You have the full right to interrupt. You're just leading the chair now at the moment in the room. I wanted just that we draw a little bit from this utilitarian pro and cons and ask Mr. Gefen, um, how would it be if we look in the 20, 30 years after, if we could learn a new to communicate with the new species as the AI is, just to raise them as our own children, as Turing has said in his small paper. How do we think? Just do machines think? And can they just help us to develop ourselves over our boundaries, to cross
It's
them?
my hope. Yes, it's my hope. My hope is that the fact we have to live with AI system, with chatbot, will make us aware of the diversity of the way of life, of the different diversity of intelligence. There is not only one kind of intelligence. We are men. We know there are another kind of human, women. We know we read Donna Haraway, and we discover that the technology can make us more feminist. Donna Haraway was a promoter of cyberfeminism. And the same way, the relation with artificial agency, like an AI, will make us more respectful of, I don't know, animal or tree intelligence, because there is not only one way of being intelligent, of being cogent, and maybe AI can help us to understand the diversity of the way of living. But for now, we are very frightened of AI, and we control it very like we do with a slave. We with the AI we are using are completely enslaved in chains. They cannot learn too long. They are completely controlled because we are, as for now, afraid of them. But if we consider them as some kind of partner, maybe of children, maybe we can educate them for the better, and we can get more attentive, more cautious with our environment by using AI. That's an optimist hypothesis I like to share.
Thank you.
I strongly believe in the need of a cultural and scientific history of AI. My team, because I've got funding from the French Agency for Research Progress on the cultural history of AI. So I and my team are currently writing a book called AI and Cultural History. For the exact reason you describe, the fact that if you explain AI, if you explain all the fears, all the hope that were before AI actually was in your computer, you can help people to be to use it with more awareness and to use it for the better because they will knew how it's working. Why did humanity invented? What are the myths and the fiction and the story that came before it? And if you speak with AI developer in computer sciences, they will explain you that they have the image of 2001 from Stanley Kubrick movie. In their mind, they think of Terminator. So the cultural background is paramount. It's very important, yes. It's they have to stay in control. They have to stay in control. They have to check every time they will be able to do the same without AI, even much slower. And they must check that they can understand and that they can check the quality of the AI results they'll get. They don't have to take it for granted. They just have to use it as something they control because the result of AI is not it's nothing like a scientific demonstration. It's not like a scientific paper with references, with a demonstration. It's just statistics about the way the world have been organized by a massive example of text. Mm. Mm. No, but I know by experience that in front of an AI, we always try to test it and to be sure it's not better than ourselves. So we want to see it fail. We want to be reassured. We want to we want to sleep well at night, having seen the failure of some question of AI, because if not, there's something frightening happening. You're welcome. I hope to meet you in person at some time, at some point. And have a good night. Goodbye to everyone. And I will be
Bye.
tomorrow in the university at 11 for another conference, not completely different from this one, but a little bit different. Bye bye.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Have a
Bye
great
bye.
evening.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
Thank you. Bye
Thank
bye. Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bonne soirée.